Hey everybody and welcome back. Well, we obviously have to talk about Bitcoin and the Bitcoin names, but there's a lot to cover here. First and foremost, we can see right in here where we just stopped dead and we have that red bar that we're closing at the low, and you can see that some of the big seven were actually really struggling today, or as they refer to them, the Magnificent Seven. We'll get into Google and why that's got some issues here. NASDAQ held up a little bit better, clearly, but the real winner of the day was going to be just RTY, the Russell, and we can see how that acted. It acted very well. You didn't see a lot of pressure on the bond market at all, but RTY held up. We need to take a look at the sectors very, very quickly here. So as the day started, you could see we were already dealing with solar, energy, clean energy was up, energy was leading. And then as the Bitcoin name leaked, where we had a group out of Riot that is basically filing a claim against the government, who's trying to look at how they are using energy. When we saw that start to take place, we started to see a little bit of a change here. And we start seeing these things get a little bit wild. And then you can start seeing right around that 10:15, all of a sudden, block starts lifting. And again, this is just 40 top sectors splitting up really into subsectors. And by playing it out this way, you can just kind of really see where the action was and how things just pulled away. At 10:30, just starts pulling out, and there's very little to say about it. You bounced around and you had some others lead for a period of time. IGV led with Dell. We saw some of that playing out. But there's some other stuff here that we should probably talk about too. Notice how you're starting to see XLF lead. You're starting to see XBI not really care what interest rates do. And I think there's some important developments there. I think they are things that we have to look at. But most importantly, what led? What was the real leader today? It was your Bitcoin names, and they really soared. Now, you did have some times where you saw the pot names start pushing, but IGV was leading, cloud, those kinds of things. And they're definitely things that we should pay attention to. But for time's sake, I'll just flip this to a 5, and then we can just see this a little bit faster and see how it's playing out. For me, I don't think there was really anything that ever came close to beating the crypto names today. And you could just kind of see how the pot stocks were just literally all over the place. But for us, there was really nothing more. You could argue that by the end of the day, they just wanted to take their profits, right? So, well, what about the end of the day? Yeah, they just wanted the profit on what they made on the day because they had an absolute killing. So, of course, you're going to see some of that. But these names were just absolutely explosive. I mean, it's really hard to ignore them. Let's take a look at some of them real quickly here. We'll clean this off and just drop this right back down to candles. But you just look at them. Now, how sustainable is this? I'm not really sure. I think it's pretty sustainable for another day. You know, usually you have 2 days of this. The first day is the excitement. The second day is retail coming in and their friends telling them about the stocks they bought, and then they come in right behind them. So you might see another move here where people come out and go, oh, we really need to buy Bitcoin. We really need to get involved. And you can see what's going on with Coinbase right here and how that's setting up. I mean, that is a perfect cup and handle out of nowhere. And if we just literally out of nowhere. And if you come here and take a look at it, that's some pretty decent volume, guys. So I can hate it all I want, but 25 points on a move today is 25 points. Mara, same exact thing. I currently have a long position in Mara, just FYI, and I have calls as well. But same exact pattern. You're getting to these levels and you're setting up to break out. I'm sure everybody sees this daily DTL, but we're going to pop it in there and just so you can take a look at it and we all see where it's sitting right there. And then Riot was pretty much the one that everybody wanted to pay attention to, right? But that really didn't get up here. So what you're looking at here in the differentiation is you're seeing Coin being able to make that higher high. You're seeing Mara kind of make it, but not really, right? But Coin really made it. MicroStrategies, if you take a look there, you made it. So there were certain names that really broke out today that had huge volume and followed through. And these are names that we could talk about, ad nauseum. But I don't know that this is going to be a one-day event because usually you get a couple days out of this. And frankly, if you look at Bitcoin's breaking out. I mean, you can say anything you want about it, but that's breaking out. You consolidated for 2 weeks, and now there's your breakout. So it is what it is. I would expect to see at least one more day of a push, maybe some consolidation. Of course, it always depends on the underlying asset, and I would watch that. For me, what I think is most important is the feedback I'm getting from you on showing the P&L and the questions about this trade, that trade, and how do you get in and how do you get out. Specifically, I got asked that a lot about the NVDA trade. So I want to walk through a portion of one trade that I did and that one day, and then you can take a look at it. You can tell me what you think and how to add, what to add. And how to explain it a little bit better. But I do want to show this so that you can kind of get a sense of how I traded NVIDIA on Friday and also the contra trade that I did on Friday, where even though I was long off the open and cleared it out from the day before, we actually went short at one point in the day. And then I talk a little bit about how I compartmentalize these accounts, which I find a little bit easier. So here, take a look. So I got two questions a lot. One was how to count contra trade. The contra trade's simple, and we're going to give an example of that. We're going to give a live example of trading a trend, but I want to do a contra trade as well so that you can see how to do it and then what you're really trying to do with that. But I want to just kind of give an update while we're here. So this is where this account is at in the year. As always, this is one account. This is not all the accounts. This is one account tied to the community. Really clear that everyone gets that. It's an aggressive account. I get asked how much it started with. It started with roughly a quarter, right around there. So just understand it's day trading oriented, short-term trading. Not all the accounts that I have are like that. And this might actually be a good time to talk about compartmentalization. So if I have a long-term trade, I keep it in a long-term account. If I have something I want to own for years, it's in an account that's deemed that way, and there's a completely different set of criteria on why I'm going to sell that versus a day trade. That's really important to remember that I do that. So I have compartmentalization because you will hear me say, I think that this stock could go up considerably. I think NVIDIA is going to be greater than Apple. In 2 seconds, I'm going to show you a chart where I'm shorting NVIDIA, right? So I compartmentalize it because it keeps me aligned with the goals of that account. So I know not everybody's going to do that. I certainly didn't do that when I started, but the compartmentalization is huge. The other thing that I'm finding by me showing you this, more people are getting trading journals. I don't care if you use TradeZella, which is what this is, or something else, but using a trading journal is good. So I want to just cover two things, contra trading, and then how are you getting in and out of these positions? So what we're looking at is January to February. This is what we're up. This is the trade expectancy, what we make every time we touch it. If you watch Saturday's video, I walk through how the slightest movement of this and this, meaning how just the win rate going up 1% from here and how this going from 2.5 can yield completely different results. And that's really important to understand. We talked about this. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it, but that alone, when your win rate goes from 54 and your profit factor is 2, and you go into let's say a 55 and a 2.6, this P&L number changes drastically. So it's definitely something to pay attention to. But I want to walk through something so that we get it. So this is February. And I did say that I'm more than happy to provide the time and sales so you can see all these trades and walk through them. A couple of people said, yes, I'd like that. I'm going to create a Dropbox, and then what I'll do is I'll just ask you for an email, and then I'll just link it to the Dropbox. So what I want to do is just click on these trades. And this is Friday. All right, so Friday we did 12. This was something that I bought in a couple different accounts. This account, they were playing around with it, so I got involved in a couple different accounts. But I want to show this in a couple different ways. So this is a long trade that I did. This is a call that I came in overnight that we did. What we saw at 4 o'clock, it made it very clear that we were going to gap up the next morning. Let me rephrase that. I had a high degree of probability. You'll see that this says open and that the put only made $600. That's not actually accurate. You'll see it reflected in Monday because I actually bought stock against the puts. So they went to 800, stock went down. They were worth like $20 at one point. You're going to see that trade live in a moment. I actually bought stock against them, so you'll see that. But you can see the losses, and then you'll see here like you have 10 winners, 7 losers, total trades, 17. But you have to understand that these trades, they're not all going to be winners, right? If it doesn't work, I'm out. Like I don't play around. CVNA didn't work, I'm out. Dell, I thought it was going to rock, didn't. I have a swing trade and a day trade. Day trade didn't work, I'm out. Square didn't work, I'm out. And you'll notice the difference in these trades. $100, $100, $200, winners, 700, right? 200, 900. Like there's no playing around here with my losers. I'm gone. That's it. Next. All right. So I don't really care about this call and showing you how we scaled out of it. The live trade I want to show, I guess I can show this really quickly. It shouldn't really be that hard. But all we really did with this was get involved here. Right at the end of the day, I saw something at 4 o'clock. I actually walked through this in Thursday's video. If you want to watch this, you can learn how to do this. It's not that hard. But what you're doing is you're differentiating between relative strength from 350 on into the end of the day. And then as this started firing in, I think I bought like 10. I didn't buy much in this account. Did in another, but it doesn't matter. So then when we opened up and we start running, I'm really clear about this, guys. I'm selling into strength. I don't need this. I don't care if I get this. right? What I'm looking for is repeatable patterns, consistency. No one gets the high, no one gets the low unless you're on Twitter. Then they get it every single day, right? So other than that, your goal is to take the meat of the move. You don't care about anything else. But I do want to show you a live trade. So let me get to that. All right, so let's review what are we looking at here. We're looking at a couple things. The first thing that we're looking at is these are the buys and the sells, the buys, and then the scaling out and the sells, the buys, the sells. I'm going to go through this and just watch the replay of this so that you can see it. This is just showing you what you made. This is not 1900 all at one time. This is probably in pieces. It might have been no more long than like maybe 1,000 at one time or maybe over 1,000. I don't remember. But then it'll just show you like the cost and everything. But I don't think I had 1,900 on it all one time. I could have, but I don't think I did. And it'll show you the trades and it'll show you the scaling out. But what I want to do is I want to show you, TradeZilla's got a cool feature. I can just replay it right in here with these so that you can see it. And then I want to show you how we could tell that we were going to flip. So just take a look at this. So what this is going to highlight for us is it's going to highlight when I'm entering trades. So you can see when I'm entering. So I'm going to stop right here. And I just want to show you this so that you can see. So what we're doing right here is we're adding to an existing position already. And what we're doing is we're just adding 500 shares. And then the moment that it starts to push up and then looks like it's going to reverse on me, I already am cutting 20% of it, like immediately. I'm already cutting something. Like, why would you pop up and then I have this control bar sitting right here? Why would I want to continue to hold this? Doesn't make any sense. I'm already rejecting a control bar. So I'm already realizing that I have the potential to fail. I can always buy back. I can't always sell where I want to. So knowing that, I'm getting out right there. Next, you can see right here. So what do? I form a flag. The flag breaks. I get a confirmation move. I sell more at a loss. Now, we get a breakout. We start going sideways. We undercut after the breakout. So in other words, I have a failed move out. So now I have this long wick and I had no follow through and I closed at the low and now I've broken below that low. What do? We trim from this portion that was the add and we lock something in. Now you can see you're starting to get that confirmation move over that spot. So what you're hoping here is that this support becomes what? Or this resistance, you're starting to hope that that level right in here starts to become some level of support is what you're starting to hope. Starting to see right here, it's not really doing that, is it? That leads us to what? When we start to realize that that support's not going to hold, what do? We cut more. Now, at the same time, I'm using indicators that are not on here, and I'm using volume, things like that. But I'm not going to put all that in there right now for time's sake. Okay, see this break right here? So when we start breaking out, I add. Even though I sold here, I'm adding higher. Now, you'll notice after hours, I start to clean up over this after hours move, and then we're adding back another position right here. And then once we add to this position after hours, what we're doing is we're scaling out into strength, and then we're holding the rest overnight. But we're scaling out into strength whenever we get the opportunity. And by doing that, we're reducing our exposure to the stock, and then we're going to hold it after hours. Now, I'm not going to watch the whole thing play out for obvious reasons, mostly time. But the whole purpose of me showing you this is I am constantly pulling money out of the market, constantly. I'm not sitting there waiting for it to tell me that it's going to go higher, it's going to go here, it's going to go there. This is a day trading account. So by carrying that position overnight, we're buying in here. It's got that arrow. We're buying right in here, right? And you saw that. So even though I'm trying in here and it's not working, as it makes these little peaks, I'm pulling something out. When it fails, I'm getting out of the way. As it trades up and looks stronger, I'm adding. Then into these peaks, I'm selling, right? Then I hold what I have in the morning. When it starts to rally in the morning, this is what I wind up doing. So, and again, this is for an aggressive account that's day trading or short-term swing trading. What are you doing constantly? Putting on your best trade, and I'm constantly adding to it, which NVIDIA is probably the best idea I have. And then what are we doing? We're watching different levels pre-market, right? But when you're running up like this and you're long, all you're doing is pulling money out. And then when it reverses, you're watching the reversals. One of the key things you want to look for in your reversals is you want to watch, let me flip this real quick. For those that are pre-market live, you know that we switch back and forth between dark and light mode. So one of the things that you note here, and I note it in this live trade that you're going to watch in a second here, I was watching how it was acting at the open. And I was watching how everybody was on one side of the trade. And when they were all on one side of the trade, that allowed me to quote contra trade, meaning take the other side. Everybody's long and wants to be long. I'm watching the open and I'm watching how it's riding the DTL. And the puts are sitting here and they were worth like $3, which is kind of insane when you think about the fact that you look at where you opened, which was right here. You look at the previous close, which is here, and you have this huge gap in between, and it's $3, and it's the morning. Like, it's not like it's 1:30, 2:30 in the afternoon. You have all day for this thing to fall apart. So take a look at this trade. I hope that breakdown was helpful. Any comments on how that could, I could break that down more? I'm more than happy to do it. Just let me know. Watch this clip.
Might be fun to actually just sell puts today on NVIDIA, like sell the 800s. What are you going to do? Like just assign me NVIDIA? Don't throw me in the briar patch. 800s, $3? That seems insanely cheap. Nobody wants puts on NVIDIA. Everybody wants calls. What's that tell you? I should be buying the puts. This seems kind of silly. I'm not going to lie. Like the fact that these 800s are $3. I hate to bet against it, but Ernie's money. We're going to buy a bunch of these. I bought some 800 puts. I'm not going to be in them very long, I don't think, but let's see what happens here. Let's see if you break that open. If you don't, I'll just close them. This is where it should break down. There you go. Already up 10%. Pulled out something. And now I'll just sit with them and say if it flips, I'll just get out of them. You were sitting right here, so it seemed like a great spot to do it. 350, 370, 380, 390. There you go. Boom. Sell some more of those, $4, pulled something out. Obviously, the rest at break even and see what happens. Where's this thing now? Oh, good. We made the money. That was nice. How much of these do I have left? Double already? Just sell some right into 800, 540, 550. You're going to bounce. Trim more. I pulled some out at like 580. So it was like 75% on a bunch there. Up 100%. Probably should pull something out, right? I'm up 100% on those puts. I'm getting close to pulling them out. 640. I can't believe they were so cheap. It made 0 cents. Nobody wanted to own them. See how easy and how orderly it was. They're selling. It was like super orderly, right? And then it just stopped being orderly. Channels are real. And you can even just watch. Look how they flip them, right? See how they flip the channel? Look at that. I have puts on it right now. Well, to make money, but they just were ridiculously cheap. But I just want to watch how that plays out.
Now, just to follow up on that, you can see the levels right here, and isn't hindsight a beautiful thing when we all look at the trade at the end of the day? It becomes so obvious, right? But the thing about it is, you just never know. So you can't look back at the past. That's why I like showing them live, because you can actually see the thought process on how you're scaling out as it's dropping. See, what you're looking for is consistency in all things, whether that is consistently good or consistently bad. If you're consistently bad, then at least you know what you need to fix. But when you have the wildness of trying to get the high or trying to get the low, and you're trying to do that type of stuff, it never really works out. What you want are consistent results. Again, even if it's consistently bad, you can just go, well, that's awful. Let's not do that. Now we know one way to not do something. And I just want to show that, and I can walk through this part of the trade. I don't know if I'll be able to do it this week or I'll have to save it for Saturday. But what I did was, as it came down, those threes, they actually became worth about 20 at one point down here. And what I did actually was I actually bought stock against the puts with another long position that was open that you won't see until probably maybe today. I don't know. I have to go take a look at the book, and how they're gonna market. But in regards to this, I stayed long stock, and then I married the puts to it. So when it came down here, I was able to buy stock, sell into it, take money out, and then just find spots to keep adding and pulling money out on those puts, which actually was more lucrative than just closing the puts. But everyone will say, well, it was clear that you thought it was going to gap fill. Why wouldn't you just hold it into the gap fill? Because you don't know that it's going to gap fill. You think that this is your target. You think this is where it's going to, but that doesn't mean it's going there. A great example is I shorted Google today, and I had a great short on Google, but when it broke, my level on this was down at, let's see if we can find it. Yep. So here is my level and where I thought it could get to today. I figured that maybe we'll get to 38.25. But before we got there, we started to lift. Now, once we made that higher high, you can see this right here. Let me just make that black so we can see it. And so now you can see that level. Once we started flipping in here and I'm short, I'm like, okay, do I really want to stay short this? Now, obviously, everyone's aware of the AI issues they're having, and everyone thinks they're going to have their Bud Light moment. You never know how this stuff's going to play out again. If you knew that, you'd stay short, right? You don't know. But this is definitely setting up for a move down. I mean, people are not going to play with this, especially after what happened to Bud Light. And if they're going to do that with AI, I mean, people are just not going to use the tool. It's going to become an issue. So they're going to have to, fix it or say they're going to fix it. But once you lose credibility, it becomes a problem. So I don't know what they're going to do about it. But I don't want to get into the fundamental side of it and on the issue. I just know that in this kind of environment, you are not going to see institutions hold this kind of stuff. And this is day one of us breaking down below that 55-day moving average, which is really not what you want to see. So we're going to want to watch this tomorrow. This may spread into Microsoft, even though Microsoft has not had anywhere near the issues that Google has had with Gemini. It's been an absolute PR disaster for them. But the point of this is, I thought we would get here. That was my thought. And to some extent, we clearly dropped further than I thought. But you have to ask yourselves, when you're in the heat of this, what are you doing? And what I mean by that is, if you're watching here, and let's say that we're short right around this level. We'll say we shorted here. And here's the point that I'm getting at. If you're short there and you're watching this, that was super fast, wasn't it? Then all of a sudden we'll drop this to a 3. That's why I like watching the replays. Because you're pulling money out, right? You're pulling money out, tries to rally, pull money out, and then you're watching it and going, okay, well, we're dropping. All right, so I pull money out. All right, well, it tests, so I'm okay. And then eventually, all right, well, we're over. So you have to ask yourself, like, what am I trying to do here? Am I willing to go back to the break even? You know, it's Google. Maybe they came out and fixed it or said something. Again, you just don't know. So then you start watching this play out, and it becomes abundantly clear that it's going to go lower. Now, that's beautiful in hindsight, but in the mix, you don't have a clue that that's going to happen. But if I was to look at that now, I feel way more comfortable with that being short. It's very clearly that has massive, massive problems. And so, you know, just understand that. I think that's a really important decision and way you have to look at it. If you know what's going to happen, of course you do that. But the only people that know what's going to happen apparently are all on Twitter, or they have YouTube videos where they're telling you exactly what's going to happen. None of us know that, right? That's why you're trying to build up a consistent system to pull money out of the market and then go to the next trade. There are some blow-ups tonight. We should go through those debacles so that you're prepared for tomorrow. This is pretty much dumpster fire of the evening. Unity Software, who partnered with Apple for this Vision Pro, just to basically say that this is a dumpster fire is an embarrassment to dumpster fires everywhere. This can find no, I mean, you have some real winners after hours too that can keep moving. But there's just no love here at all. There's no support. It's not getting better. It's literally getting worse as it goes on. The conference call I have not listened to, and I don't believe it even starts till 5, but I have not listened to it. Now, the chart could look completely different by that time. As you can tell, I'm trying to do these a little earlier. Your comments were, can you please try to get these out by 5? So that's what we're going to try and do, get them out earlier. And then we'll just cover the nuances pre-market live at public. If you did sign up for the wait list, please look for your email this week. So we started doing invitations again for the wait list to join the community if you want. I got inundated, and I talk to everybody that joins or has the opportunity to talk to me. So I got inundated from how many people joined. So I shut it down again, and now invitations will go back out since I'm caught up. It's a one-man shop, guys. So, and obviously I trade. So I got to keep it tight knit. Anyway, this is just god awful. There's no other way to say it. But there were some good things. Now, I will say this. I don't see the disaster here with Workday. They bought some company. They're hitting it. Now, just know this about Workday. And I don't see the disaster yet. It will take CRM with it. It will take Crowd with it. It will take Snow with it, Zscaler. It will take them all down. Does that mean that they should be all down? No. So what I would do is I would go on the same premise tomorrow that happened with PANW. PANW took them all down, right? Took all the names down. And then what did you see? You saw opportunity. People were picking this up at 280, 290. Look at where this went to, right to the 55. I use a 12, a 22, a 55. You should use what you're comfortable with. But what is this showing you? This is presenting opportunity. This is why I love the market when we really don't have, I'm not competing with the Fed to buy equities, because you get that volatility. Look at Zscaler. I mean, and look at these moves that you're able to capture. So if you see something like that, you might want to have your names lined up for the ones that you're looking at tomorrow. I didn't think Workday frankly, I didn't think it was that bad. I thought everything was pretty much in line. I thought it was good. They bought a company. Maybe everyone was looking for a huge beat. We didn't get it. It certainly wasn't Unity Software. ZM was good. ZM was pretty good. And not only that, they're doing a buyback. Now, a buyback for this company is exactly what you want to see. You want to see them actually commit capital to their own stock, because you've really been in free fall. And I mean, I'm not telling anybody that people don't know. I mean, that's what a free fall looks like. If you were to take a picture of a free fall and look at it in a book, this is it. But them coming out and saying, hey, this is silly, we're going to buy our own stock down here, that's saying something, because they don't have to do that. And the fact that they're doing it is actually pretty big. So this is another one that I would definitely have on the radar tomorrow. It's the exact opposite of what you saw with something like, people always compare these to like TDOC, and it's not even close. It's night and day. And yeah, can someone do what Zoom does? Yeah, but they certainly have the brand, don't they? And people are using that over other services. I'll leave it at that. HIMS, I thought this was great. So HIMS, see that penny? So you start going through this, and what we're looking for is, have we ever had that penny before? No. So what you're really seeing here, I don't believe we have. We're going to go through a couple more of these, but I don't believe we actually ever got to a point. And so what you're seeing here is, you see all these negatives that are coming here. So you're positive for the first time. And if you're, I'm pretty sure it's EBITDA positive. Let me just double check this and see if they put it out into that, if they get how specific they got. But it was a penny. And I don't know if it's through GAAP or not, but I have to go back and take a look at it. The bottom line is, this is the first time that they are reporting any kind of positive. And so that's kind of a big deal. Usually these flips are inflection points. If you go take a look at Amazon, the first time that they ever did this, the stock was the equivalent of like $400, and you know where it is right now after all it splits and everything else. So it's certainly something that we want to pay attention to, that's for sure. This will be a hot one tomorrow, and people will be watching this. IRBT, a hot one. I don't know where I came up with that, but I'm just going to have to stick with it. Can't really back out of it now, can I? IRBT. I'm kind of curious how this conference call goes. I really am, because they need to get it together. They thought they were going to get bought out. They're not. You can see the stock plummet due to that, and now we're going to have to see how this plays out. I do want to point something out that I saw today, and it was somewhat bothersome in regards to NVIDIA. Now, I do think that also SMCI tomorrow, we should probably cover that really quickly as well. But this did bother me with what I saw here with NVIDIA more than anything. We had these little peaks, and you may have seen these, and I'm sure you saw the ARM upgrade too. But if you look at these little bumps, when you're bumping these higher highs, and then you have these reversals like this, that is not good. When you reverse, like you're going to break out, and then you fail, and you're unable to rally over that point, you have a problem. And that's something we want to watch. So we definitely want to watch that 802.83 level, but I don't like that. One, I don't like it because I bought it and then had to get out of it here. So that's one reason I don't like it. The other reason I don't like it is it's telling you that they're setting us up. So they have this long green bar with all that right vol behind it that kicked in, then the push, and then they just sweep the leg, right? Complete Karate Kid move. So I don't really like that. And SMCI, we should talk about just from the standpoint of, let me clean this all off. Just from the standpoint, I actually want to walk through that, how we were able to get in and out of this trade, or out. Some people got out and trimmed it up 20 points today. I'll actually go through that tomorrow. That was actually that's a pretty good teaching moment. But what we're doing here and what we're seeing is this convert prices tomorrow. So this will be another one to watch for sure. That is it.